Welcome inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. They call him the BOAT. We're here ready to do our thing, man, ready to have some fun. Give you guys 2 hours of entertainment here, ESPN 97.5, of course. And I've had a full day already. I had a full day already.
You have had a full day. You've been at it early.
My thing is this here, man. I'm not the confrontational type.
No.
Okay. You know what I mean? I don't like no trouble. I don't want no trouble. You know what I'm saying? But it seems like trouble always finds me, just like it did earlier today with Ariel Helwani, man. But we got to talk about that. We got to talk about that. But we got to talk about a lot of stuff. We got boxing going down this weekend. We got, what we left off with just yesterday as far as the Moxley Omega match, man. That match right there has got a lot of talk around the wrestling world right now, and we're going to talk about the reasons why. More important than anything, I did my wrestling 101 camp last night on Zoom, and so many of the young people wanted to talk to me about that match, which was really, really cool, to let me know that wrestling from that perspective is not dead. It still works in 2020. And I was talking about Pat Patterson last night, as far as he had the mind to where he could have worked in every era, just because, the psychology, I really think the psychology of the story of the movie, it really don't change. Writing the songs, I don't think they really change. I think the format changes a little bit, the word changes a little bit, but the lyrics, beats, and whatnot, that stuff is all falls under one umbrella.
Right.
And I think. And I think that's what that match, gave a lot of people, man. And so we got to talk about it. Westbrook, man. Westbrook, he's up and out of here, man. He's out of H-Town. And my thing is, man, don't call me a fortune teller or nothing. I'm not like Miss Cleo. Call me now. Call me. Normally when I say, something, a lot of people just wash it to the side. They don't really, take it for an account for, because I'm not looking at it just from, X's and O's, you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm not looking at it just from those perspectives. That's why, I'm going to say whether something is going to work or not. And from the beginning, Patrick Creighton and all you suckers was on the gravy train, thinking that this was a good idea with Harden and Westbrook, two guys, just say if they were a battery, they both would be a positive. You know what I mean? I'm serious. And that right there, that's not a bad for certain situations, but for certain situations, it could be bad, like here at Houston. It's something that didn't work out, the experiment. That's what I called it, the experiment. It didn't work out. It went up in smoke. And so, guys, hopefully, if we can follow my leader, we need to purge this whole thing. We need to clean out the swamp. So who's next? Who's next on the hit list? James Harden. We got to get him up out of here, and we got to regroup. We got to start all over. We got to rebuild, guys. And I know, and the thing is, I know a whole lot of people here in the H-Town, they don't want to hear this. This is something that they really don't want to hear. But James Harden is well past his prime.
No, he is not.
Even though you may not want to look at it, you may not even want to think about it. But as far as development for James Harden, as far as becoming a better player, as far as making the team around him better, I just do not see that being in James Harden's DNA. Now, maybe it's something that could be taught, but most of the time, guys like that have been playing the game for this long, it's like me when somebody come to my wrestling school and they're just say for instance they're 35 and they've been wrestling in promotions all over the country for the last 10 years, and then they come in there with a bunch of young kids. They think they know more than those young kids, but those young kids perhaps may know more than them just because they've been sitting under the learning tree. Maybe the teaching you've been getting have been the wrong teaching. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying as far as we need to regroup. We need to revamp. We need to get some solid leadership on that team, and then we need to make the right decisions and try to make a run at it. But keeping the old guard, throwing James Harden out there to keep doing the same thing, running down, getting threes, making his stats look good. My thing is, man, that's cool. That's cool and all. MVP, all that kind of stuff. MVP. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. That's cool. That's cool. But me personally, there again, man, I'm about checks and championships.
Okay. Are you done? Are you finished?
Yeah. What are you talking about?
Because I'm a big Booker T fan. I'm a big fan. You know
that.
You
agree with everything I just said there.
I think everything you just said is crazy. I think it's all crazy. You can't just let a once in a generational type talent like James Harden, scoring champ 2 years in a row, finish top 2 in MVP race almost the last 5 years. He is one of the top 3 players in this entire league. It goes, in my opinion, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, James Harden. That is how it goes right now, and you cannot just let him walk out the door. And we just traded Russell Westbrook, which, by the way, I'm not mad at. I like Russ as a player. It didn't work. It didn't fit. And I think that you want to talk about somebody who's on the downside of his prime. You talk about a guy like Russell Westbrook. He's going to Washington. They probably won't even make the playoffs. That's fine. We get back John Wall. I'm okay on that. I think that that's better than Russ. It's a little bit of an upgrade. Not much. We have Boogie Cousins. We have Woods. We have some good pieces here. I think we have a nice starting 5. We got some size back. James Harden, if he comes committed and he's ready to play like I know that he can, Rockets are going to make another run this year. The only question is, are we going to keep James Harden? At this point, I would bet that we're not going to keep him. I think that he's going to go probably to the Philadelphia 76ers, even though he wants to go to Brooklyn. The thing is, the Rockets have all the control, Booker. We hold all the cards. He who holds the cards holds the power, right? We have the power right now. You know what it's like to put your name on a dotted line. That contract means you're committed, right? Right? It means you're committed. You have to see this thing through. Every time you sign a contract, whether it be for WCW, WWF, WWE, TNA, right? Every time you sign that contract, you got to fulfill it, right? You got to fulfill it. James Harden has 2 years left. We can make him sit. We can make the man sit if he wants to.
You can get him out of here. I mean, somebody will pick him up. Somebody.
But it depends on what we get back for him. That's the thing. If we got to move him, we move him. But we got to get something equitable back for him. He's a once-in-a-generation athlete.
Yeah, that have no championship rings, which makes,
Needed the Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I mean.
Needed the mailman Karl Malone.
I mean, you look at Karl
Patrick Ewing.
Look at Karl Malone right now. What is he doing? Driving trucks around the country. So
say something about Chuck though. Say something about Chuck. Huh?
You know what? I'm not gonna say anything about Chuck, man, because we homies. You know what I mean? Me and Charles Barkley, we homies. You know what I mean? We tight like this right here. When we see each other, it's all love. It's like this here. What's going on, dog? You know what I mean? But Karl Malone.
Wait a minute. I got to call BS on this too. You have a picture of you and Karl Malone up at the World Gym Arena. And you're talking smack on this man's name.
I just took a photo with the brother, and it wasn't like we was cool with each other or anything. Have you ever taken pictures with people that you really don't actually know? You know what I mean? But you admired what they did on the court. The brother was bad on the court. What he did in WCW, it was awesome. I give him big props. You know what I mean? But come on. And the thing is, he's not driving trucks because he have to. He's doing it because he wants to. That's another story.
Yes, that is different. That is different. So, but my thing is, if we trade away James, we just got to get something good in return. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying.
My thing is this, bro.
That's good business.
All I'm saying is this. We need to. James Harden been here, 8 years now? 9 years?
8. I think this would be his 9th.
This is 9th year here in Houston. And I've never really, maybe once felt like, if you had that feeling inside that, man, something might happen here, but
I
other than
remember.
that, we haven't had those feelings with James Harden. And like I say, James Harden, he's a great player. He's padded his stats like no other player that I've ever seen before. And my thing is this: it's nothing.
Crazy.
Look here, it's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. If you want to go down as the scoring champion in all of NBA's history, if you want to go down as being one of the most prolific three-point players that ever shot the ball, you know what I mean? If you want to go down as being one of those guys, James Harden, he will definitely be right there. He's the guy that you look towards. But when you think about championships or anything like that, James Harden is not the guy you're going to think about. Hey guys, we got to take a break. We got to take a break. Whatever you got to say, that Brad. I know you want to say something. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame, sucker. Shoop. Welcome back inside the. Hey man, so many people in the in the chat, they agree with me as far as the thing, man. As far as Harden, great score, but the guy's a ball hog. That's exactly what he is. I mean, he's a guy that goes out and scores a lot of points, but as far as championships, ain't none of that happening. But he is getting big checks. He is getting big checks. So one half of the two.
Well, let me ask you this though. This is what I wanted to ask you. Do you think that just because you win championships or multiple championships, that makes you a better player than somebody who's never won a title?
Heck yeah. You know why I say that? It's because I really don't think we would be talking about other than when the Houston Cougars lost to Carolina, Slamma Jamma, Hakeem Olajuwon and Trexler and all those boys. We wouldn't have been talking about, them winning the championship with Olajuwon. We would still be talking about losing that game in college. That's why I say that. That's why I say that. I mean, I could be wrong. But I don't think we would be looking at Hakeem Olajuwon the same way if he wouldn't have won championships. I could be wrong. I do think we will be talking about what happened in college opposed to what he did in the pros. And that might be a little bit before your time as far as knowing that story and whatnot. But I say that just because of the history. That's all.
Okay. And I'm looking at the chat, and some of them seem to agree with you, and that's fine. Whoever Dream 12 Chaser is, this guy doesn't even live in the same universe that you and I live in. He says that the Suns are going to be a top 3 seed in the West, so I can't even take his opinion as anything less than irrelevant. It's irrelevant, Booker T. Irrelevant.
That's like somebody from Cleveland saying the Browns is going to win the Super Bowl. Look, no, seriously, I'm serious, man.
I know that's just as ridiculous too. Right.
But you gotta go with your team. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying to the brother. Go with your team, bro. If you think they're gonna make it, go with it. You know what I mean? Just don't put no money on it.
just don't do that. Don't waste your money. That's your hard-earned money, my man. Don't waste it. Don't do that. I will say in other basketball news, just real quick, Anthony Davis signing a maximum contract with the Lakers, and LeBron James.
What is it, 197 million?
$197 million.
God.
And LeBron James extended his contract before his player option next year for 2 more years. So LeBron's sticking in LA probably to the end of his career with the hopes that his son, Bronny, will be drafted by the Lakers eventually, and they get to play together on the same hardwood. That's his goal. That's his goal. I don't know if it's going to happen, but it's possible now.
That'd be great, man. That'd be great. I would love.
Wouldn't it be crazy to tag with Kendrick? I mean, obviously, there's a bit of an age difference, but I'm just saying, like,
chance, man. I still got a chance. I got a shot. You know,
how old's Kendrick now? 10?
Yeah. If we can get him in the next, 45 years.
Oh, well, you know what? 5 years from now, you'll still be younger than Sting.
Exactly. So I can still, it can still happen. No doubt.
Let me ask you this before we get into, because I already see people in the chat. They're chirping,
chomping at the bit.
They're chirping. They're just saying things. Who is the best father-son tag team? There were a couple, right? Do you remember a tag match where father and son got to tag together? Because we had one in reality wrestling, Luke and PJ Hawks, right?
Yeah.
But famously, I think of when Dusty Rhodes got the tag team with the Natural Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
At one point, we've seen it throughout history. Most recently, Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio getting to do it together. Do any come to your mind that you thought, man, that was pretty awesome?
Not really, man. I mean, of course, I remember the nostalgia of Fritz Von Erich and the boys, doing their stuff back in the day. But just trying to think of someone that did it at a higher level than the others. I can't really.
I can think of a father-son match that was sensational.
Of course, Ivan Putski and Scott Putski, they did some stuff together, but I don't know.
I can think of a father-son match that was excellent because I just watched it recently. WrestleMania 17, Shane versus Vince McMahon. It was great. It was great. It was great poetry, great storytelling in that match. When Linda, she was in the catatonic state at the time, and they put her in the wheelchair in the ring, and Vince has the trash can above his head. He's about to smash it on Shane, and she gets up and kicks him right in the jewels. Oh, and Vince sells it, and he's still holding the trash can above his head the whole time as he drops to his knees.
Oh my God, man! That's what wrestling was, man. Back in the day, that's what I miss so much about it, and that's definitely something we got to talk about. You're talking about the people in the chat. What's intriguing you most, perhaps?
Real quick, someone said, Larry and Kurt Hennig tagged together, so did Vern and Greg Gagne. Those are great. But I see somebody chirping, Book, and I feel like let's just get it out of the way. Let's just get it out of the way. Somebody's saying stuff like this. Ariel Helwani for WWE champion. Helwani will whoop Booker T. Obviously, Ali Bazi is nothing but a fanboy, right? He's a fanboy, but I appreciate you checking out the show. I appreciate it. You're checking out the shine and the gloss over there with Booker T. You're checking out the boat's hair. I get you. I understand. I appreciate you. But let's break this down, because you called me earlier today and you said, "Hey, you're about to find out about something, I'm sure, online pretty soon, but it just had to be done." This is what I'm paraphrasing. This is what you said, and I didn't know what you were talking about, and then I went in and investigated it, and I saw. Now, you're not a confrontational individual, but I've seen you on a couple of occasions where someone just flips that switch on you.
Push my button.
They push that button, and you gotta let them know what time it is, right? You just gotta let them know what time it is. We've had what I like to call somewhat of a playful back and forth over the last several months between this show, the Hall of Fame, and whatever the show is over there on the national ESPN. Which I didn't know that if it's on YouTube, that's considered the national ESPN. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here. I'm not here to take shots. I'm just pointing out facts. I'm not here to take shots. But DC and Helwani, we've had a pretty fun back and forth, I thought. And then Helwani started to take it to a place, right? He started to take it to a place. And Helwani was on the Pat McAfee show earlier today, and he continued taking it to that place, talking about you, and then you made an appearance, and that's my setup. I'll let you take it from here.
Hey, man, everybody out there, they know me, man. They know what I'm all about. And sometimes you can, push my button and I go off a little bit and whatnot, but sometimes people need to be, checked and put in their place. Ariel Helwani, I'm not a journalist like he is, where, like, for instance, him calling Daniel Cormier in the middle of him and I, having a conversation. And Daniel Cormier saying, he used to, now he doesn't like me, but he once did. See, I'm not the kind of person that, do radio, do the podcast and think about somebody liking me. I don't care if somebody liked me or not. That you think I care if somebody gonna give me an interview? If I say I like them, and I'm not kissing no ass. It's never been day one where Booker T put himself in that position, and what I've done, as a two-time Hall of Famer, and Ariel Helwani, saying what he did about me being last guy in WCW and whatnot. Okay, that's cool. Me being a two-time Hall of Famer and stepping on that's cool. But sometimes you got to know your place. You really do, because I and this just on a serious note. I wonder if he would have been. I wondered if he would have ever stepped on Shawn Michaels' career. I wonder if he would have ever stepped on Bret Hart's career, or Ric Flair. Guys like Hall of Famers like myself.
2 times over.
Yeah, I wonder if he would have did that, and for him to think he know what working is, he need to find his place. He need to find his place. He need to find it real quick. It might be some freaking corner or something like that. And there again, I'm just keeping it real. You talk about me, he's probably somewhere working out in this little gym. And like I said, I'm working out in my little gym every day, but my gym is not so little. I live in a mansion. You know what I mean? I got a pretty big gym. Let's just put it like that. I got a school with a gym in it with like $100,000 worth of equipment in it. So I'm working out every day. And for someone like him who has never done anything athletically in his life, like for him to think he can whoop me, it would be him thinking he could whoop Mike Tyson. Now, do I think I can whoop Mike Tyson? No. But do I think I can whoop Ariel Helwani's ass in the shape I'm in right now? 10 times out of 10 times, every day, 24 hours, with no problem, just like he was my little boy. So he needs to understand who he's talking to. He's talking to a full-grown ass man. And until you realize that, he's going to have a problem with me. And if I have to check him every time I see him, I'll do that. And, so that's why I stand with Ariel Helwani. And the thing is, I could be wrong. But guys, you're in the Hall of Fame. And I know a lot of you guys want to talk about this. We'll be back in a minute. Stick around. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer, and this is for all up-and-coming professional wrestlers, male and female. You want to know the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. You got a question, I got the answer. If you want to know how, join my masterclass. Go to realityofwrestling.com for all the information. Starting on Thursday and every Thursday after that, guys. Don't miss out. Don't get shut out. And I know you can dig that.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, speaking of fighting Khabib Nurmagomedov, I don't know if you saw that Eagle Fight Championship. He just launched his own fighting promotion, man. I'm looking to work with the UFC as far as I guess just like what I'm trying to do with the upper groups, the WWEs, the TNAs, the AEW of the world, get my students out, get them to the next level, a breeding ground for the next generation of fighters. Big ups to Khabib for actually thinking about what he's going to be doing next. And the thing is, Khabib is still young enough to where of course, if things aren't working out the way he really wanted, money get a little bit tight, hey man, book me. booking me on the fight. But let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. I know a lot of people want to talk about it. But what you got, man?
I wanted just to share something that, you know, I think might be an accurate representation if you and Ariel Helwani's paths were to ever cross in person. Have you ever met Ariel in person?
I don't know. That's how unassuming he is.
Look at this. It's just great. That's a great piece of business.
Oh man, it's crazy, man. No, man, I'm serious. Now, some
Dana
people,
Exotic, shout out to you.
no, am I right or wrong? Some people got to know that. People got to know that. It's just like Corey Graves and I. Corey Graves and I, we set the world on fire. And even though we set the world on fire, I don't know if anything was ever said other than me catching him at Starbucks and whooping his ass. Other than that, I think I put him over the whole time. I said he's a college kid. I said he's great at what he did in commentary. You know, I think am I correct here or not?
You are correct about that.
You know, so some people, you know, they think they know how to, you know, work, but don't try to work a worker. That's what we always said back in the day. Don't try to work a worker, man. Stay in your lane.
Has a guy ever said something to you out there, you know, on television back, you know, when you were active every single week on TV, cutting promos with some of the best of them? Did anyone ever say anything that kind of legit got you hot in the frame of the show?
Nah, not really, man. I don't think so. I don't think anybody said anything that really got me hot. But I've had something said to me to where I had to really go into that moment to where I felt like I want to like really hurt somebody. And it was when I was doing commentary and Triple H fired me. Remember that?
Yes, on Raw. This was like 2015, maybe.
Yeah, and I look like, man, I look like I wanted to kill him. You know, and he goes, "Nah, man, I'm just messing with you. You know whatnot. You're good at what you do. You know." But it for that moment, it had the internet buzz was buzzing because they thought, man, Booker T is really finna get into a fight with Triple H on his way out, because I'm sure you've heard me say it before, you know, if you fire me, you better do it by fax or email. You know what I mean? But nah, man, it's always been entertainment. Yeah.
Okay, I was just curious. I do remember that Triple H thing, and you kept everybody in the dark about it. Didn't tell anybody about it. I wasn't expecting it, and I was a little thrown off by it because you. Here's the thing, guys, people out there. Like I said, Booker doesn't get angry often, but when he does, you can definitely tell. You can definitely understand that he's not pleased right now. And the face that you made that night against Triple H was one, and then your tone today on the Pat McAfee show was another example to where I was like, okay, guys, we need somebody better get this man.
Oh man, like I say, man, I apologize, man, to all the listeners out there, man. I don't like getting hot like that. But like I say, my career is real, man. My career to me is real. There again, Daniel Cormier was brought into this due to Ariel Helwani. Ariel Helwani, you know, bringing Daniel Cormier into this. And me personally, if I was Daniel Cormier, I would tell him, look, man, don't be bringing me into your stuff. Fight your own battles, you know, because my thing is this: if you bring Daniel Cormier into this battle, he might get a few, wounds as well. You know, he might catch a few, shots that went astray that was meant for you. Just because you brought him in. And that's what happened with Cormier. Like I told him, I respect everything that he's done inside the octagon. I really do. But if you get cross with me, son, we could talk about it. Oh, we could talk about it. That's just the way I am. I'm on the real. Let's move on. Any other big news?
Yes. Well, people have been asking about it, and it's been out for about a week now. And I'm trying to find the chat right here. Right here. Jorge said, "Soy un rey, campeón, Booker T."
Yeah.
That is the lyrics from Bad Bunny's new record called Booker T. You and Bad Bunny, right? Bad Bunny has a song about you. Yeah. We were speaking about relevancy just a second ago. That's pretty cool because Bad Bunny's one of the biggest rappers in the world right now, especially in the Latin American community. He might be number one, numero uno, campeón, right? Bad Bunny.
El gran campeón.
El gran campeón. And for him to do a record about you, that's pretty cool. How did that all come about?
Nah, man. It wasn't. It was organic. There again, it was somebody that been watching me for years. As a kid coming up, admired what I've done. For the business. It's just for the sport in general. Say, man. And that's what's really crazy, man. I've touched so many people of color, and I consider him as being a person of color, but from somewhere all the way across the water, man. Um, and he's watching Booker T and he's digging what I'm doing. It lets me know that I did something right as far as going out there from a performance perspective. I always tell my students, when you're performing, you can never perform, for yourself. It's always, for the fans. When you're in there with your opponent, you, both of you guys should be thinking about one thing only, and that's what the fans are feeling. How can we make them feel even more so? And for me to actually be able to touch so many people around the world, man, it's around the globe, it's been utterly amazing. And I always wondered when somebody was going to come out with a song, about Booker T, because because I know I was badass. I knew that, but this is kind of like the stamp of of approval, and said, man, yeah, man, you really were. And the King run definitely made a lot of young people feel a certain way as well, and that's something that I really put a lot of work into. Was King Booker. Making the fans go, man, this is what wrestling is. It's not real. It's as real as we make it. We take you to a land, just like when I went to Disney for the first time and took my kids, and right there it says, the place where dreams come true. That's what wrestling is, man. It's a dream that you can make come true in so many different ways. I remember me and my wife, I can't remember what country we were in, but we were in the hotel. We was all the way up, looking down over the bar, and it was just full pack with all of the boys, and everybody was just laughing and having so much fun. And I look at Charbel and I say, look, baby, we living it up. She gonna living it up my ass. We working because we was on the road like crazy. We didn't get a chance to see nothing but the hotel, the arena, and the airplane or the bus, man. But it was, to me, man. We was living it up, man. Nothing like that.
Yeah, and it's just cool to have somebody like Bad Bunny, one of the biggest artists in the world, want to just do not even just a name check. Not even name check, but just name the entire song after you. And I can't play the record because one, we're not exactly sure what he's saying.
Well, we gotta later on some of it, yeah.
But I just want to check out the beat here. The beat to this song is great. Can you hear that or no?
Nope, not yet.
Hold on, I'll add it. Give me 1 second.
It's definitely got a nice beat to it, nice flow, make you feel a certain. There again, music is just like wrestling for me. It got to make you feel
there
a certain.
It goes.
And I tell you, Charmel,
that beat is great.
Yeah. Shoot, I was about to go into my flow, man.
Wait, hold on. I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back.
Don't worry about that. That might go viral. Maybe good.
One viral moment a day for you, okay?
But nah, man, it's just so cool, man. It really is, man. It's just so, I'm humble, bro. I really am. I'm humbled to actually have something like that happen for me in this business. It's so many guys that have come through that put on the boots and tights and went out there and entertained. So many greats, so many of them. And for some young cat to keep me on the map, keep people, thinking and talking about Booker T, hook me up with a totally different demographic. Man, over the last week, we've gained 10,000 new YouTube subscribers. Yep. 10,000 in 1 week. For us, that's huge. Some people could say, man, that ain't nothing. But for us, small little wrestling company down here in Texas that work hard for our artists, 410,000 YouTube subscribers. And a lot of that is for Bad Bunny. Twitter, went up like crazy. It's going through the
Nuts.
roof over the last few weeks, and it's all because of Bad Bunny, hooking me up with a total different demographic, man. And you know what I say, man? I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate it because I talk about it all the time. Stay relevant. You know what I mean? It's so important in this life because you're never going to be the guy that's always on top. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Hey, before we even go farther, got to pay a couple of bills here, guys. Big fight going down this weekend. Undefeated Errol the Truth Spence Jr. risk it all, putting his title on the line against Philly's own Danny Swift Garcia. Guys, perhaps in the biggest fight of the year, guys. It all goes down this weekend, December 5th, live only on pay-per-view. You can buy it on foxsports.com/PPV and watch it on any device that you want to, guys. I tell you, man, it's going to be good. I wish I could be there, but I definitely will be there in spirit. I'm going to be watching it on pay-per-view myself. Cannot wait. And people questioning. It's a huge question mark right beside Errol Spence, wondering if he still got, that power, if he still got, the elusiveness. Is he still going to be able to go out there and do it like he did it before? Is he still the, undisputed, champion, or is that just, something that was a here today, perhaps, and going tomorrow? I don't know. I'm betting on Errol Spence to go out there and still be able to do what he's done, just like he's did it for so long. There again, the muscle memory is something that just doesn't, it doesn't go away that easy. And I'm hoping, and I'm wishing, I'm praying that Errol Spence come back and he still can go out there and do it. Danny Garcia, there again, is going to be a tough customer. He's going to be a tough guy to beat, just because Danny knows this could be the fight that makes or break him as far as being the guy that's continuing to make millions in the game, or a guy that's relegated to, the lower food chain. Guys just making, few thousand here, 100,000 here. And in the fight game, that's not a whole lot of money at all for a guy that, aspired to be, about billions. Like that boy Adrian Broner was thinking about, but he never made billions. But that's what
He barely made sense.
but that's what you I beat that boy. I beat him. But no, man. What do you think? What do you think?
Echoing kind of what we talked about yesterday, I think there's a big fight for Errol Spence in a multitude of different ways. I think one, to prove to himself that he can still do it. One, to prove to all the critics that he can still do it after that horrific car accident, which happened actually days. Someone corrected me on Twitter. It happened days after that Sean Porter fight. Someone told me. It was just a few days afterward, a handful. So we're glad that Errol Spence is fine and he's coming back to fight. But it's a big challenge for him and Danny Garcia. And you talked about smart money. You talked about betting odds. I want to take a look at the odds right now. If you look at them, this is according to DraftKings.com. Here are the odds. Spence is the favorite at minus 455. Garcia is the underdog at plus 333. A draw is plus 2,000. People not thinking it's going to go to a draw. And the under of 10.5 rounds is the favorite right there. They think it's going to go less than 10.5 rounds, and Errol Spence walks away with the W. Booker T, do you think Vegas has this one right as far as the DraftKings betting goes?
Well, it goes to show that somebody's thinking pretty much the same thing I'm thinking. As far as man, somebody knows something. As far as otherwise, their betting odds wouldn't be, swaying, this far, towards Errol. And I say that because somebody must have been watching him in his training camps. Somebody must have been, paying close attention. It must have been a lot of spying going on over this last, couple of months. As far as no, I'm serious. I mean, I'm not saying something that they don't do.
Yeah.
You got to definitely have your guys out there watching and seeing, what's going on the other side. If you can get somebody on the inside, to let you know what's going on, you're going to do that. If you got to pay somebody, how do you think these guys get their music on the radio? How do you think they do? So it's no different. So I'm thinking somebody knows something, and somebody is saying Errol Spence still got what it takes to go out there and be a winner. Somebody's betting on Errol Spence still being able to go out there and be a winner. So that's my thing. And also, it's so hard to bet against a champion. I don't care what he's been. I don't like we talked about last night. I don't care if he's been in a plane crash and he coming back for this fight. I'm still going to be betting on him. If he walked away from the crash, he could walk away from anything. He could beat anything. That's what I'm thinking in my mind. If a guy can, beat this car accident the way it happened and walk away from something like that, man, this guy's walking on air right now. I mean, he's definitely saying, man, God has put me here for a reason. Now I got to go out here and do my job and change up a whole lot of things as well, man. Because one twist of the turn, man, it could have been totally different for that kid. So many. It's just one kid. Man, I can't think of his name right now. Bad fighter, had a motorcycle accident and paralyzed himself, and and next thing you know, career is up one day and down the next day. That's just the way the business is. I mean, look at wrestling. Look at Magnum TA.
Magnum TA. That's about to bring up.
Yeah. Same
kind of thing.
Crazy.
He had a motorcycle accident, right?
No, I think he was in a
was he a car accident?
A Ferrari. Yeah, wrapped around a tree or something like that. Yeah.
Right, and he had one of those.
Same as Errol.
Spence, yeah. He had one of those promising careers that happen sometimes. I think Brock Lesnar said that his motorcycle accident that he had post WWE when he was trying to go for the NFL, that was the thing that he claimed in his book that held him back from being able to make the Minnesota Vikings. Last guy cut from the squad there before the regular season, and he did it after a motorcycle accident. The guy's a freak of nature. But for those of you unaware, I mean, it's not too gruesome to show now that Errol Spence is okay, but I mean, look at how that Ferrari looked, right? I mean, that thing looks unlike a Ferrari. It's unrecognizable.
The top was off, yeah.
Top is off. I mean, look at this back end. Look at the front end. There's no reason this man should be fighting at a pay-per-view this weekend, right? But God has bigger plans for him, obviously. That's why it's hard not to root for Errol Spence in this fight. I would be rooting for him anyway because, one, he's a friend of the show. Two, Dallas is right up the road from where we are, so you got to rep hard for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But after this, you have to root for this man to battle the odds again, like he did in this car accident, and go out there and defend what is his and continue that undefeated streak that he's on.
No doubt, man. No doubt. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. I'm sure he's going to be, having certain kind of feelings about going out there and getting touched. But that's one thing about a fight, man. One thing about a fight, when you get touched one time, all the jitters go away. You in the fight, unless you get knocked out. That's the only time you perhaps find yourself in a certain place. But when you're in a fight and you're in the fight, and you don't get touched to the point to where you go to sleep, only thing you're thinking about is the fight, so it's a wake-up call as well. It's one of those deals to where, boom, you get hit, bang, oh, okay, I can take that shot. Oh, it didn't feel that bad. Oh, okay, let's do this. So I'm wondering if that feeling right there is going to come back, and when it does, are we going to be able to see it? Are we going to be able to switch, get turned on? So I'm looking for this boy, just like the baby, man, for the boy to push the button. Yeah, and I wouldn't have been saying that a year ago, man. I was all over the baby, man. But the baby, the baby has won me over, man. Yeah. The baby is 1 mil. He's one of my favorite rappers now.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the baby. So make sure y'all all go get that. It goes down this weekend again. Undefeated Errol, the Truth, Spence Jr. risked it all and put this title on the line against Philly's own Danny Swift Garcia in the biggest fight of the year. It all goes down Saturday, December the 5th, live on pay-per-view. Buy now at foxsports.com/PPV so you can watch it on any screen that you want. Booker T. Boxing really has been, throughout the pandemic, all combat sports have really kept us on, right? And I'll throw wrestling into that as well. Wrestling has not stopped since the pandemic started, not even for 1 week. And then, of course, Dana White was the first fight league to be back. And then boxing has really proven to be just as entertaining without a crowd as it is with the crowd. Now, I would like the crowd to be there, but it's the one sport where it really hasn't taken anything away from it. It's going to be interesting to see what Jerry World is like without an audience and just two guys standing in a 20 by 20 box. But I'm excited for Saturday night. I think it's going to be a good fight. Everybody needs to go out there and watch it.
No, I mean, it's not going to be like that. It's going to have fans.
Oh yeah, you are right. I'm sorry. There's going to be socially distanced fans there.
They're going to have fans in there. I mean, they start selling.
You are right.
Start selling tickets already, man. So guys, you can still you can get in there. It's going to be one of those things. Just make sure you masked up. Make sure you bring your sanitizer. Make sure you all ready and whatnot. But if you want to see a good fight, it's definitely going to be right there, Jerry. Well, and like I said, man, I wish I could be there, man. I wish I could be there, but I got something going down. And when the little woman calls, you know what I mean? When the little woman needs something to get taken care of, you got to make sure you get it done and get it done quick. Otherwise, you could be living in the doghouse. And the thing is, we got Christmas coming up. Christmas is coming up. Guys, I hope you make sure you treat your ladies real nice. Make sure you plan now. Start making sure you get ready right now to make sure you make the lady feel special on Christmas Day, man. Because if you don't, there again, man, you don't want to do it. Hey, guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
The Academy.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. Yeah, just read some of these chats, man. It's crazy. No, man. Last night we left off talking about something. What you got?
We did, but before we get there, I just want to point out Aaron C had a chat for us, a super chat, $5 super chat. I just want to get to it before we forget. Aaron C, one of our faithfuls, always big shout out to him. But let's check it out right now. He said, Booker, did writers ever ask you to join the NWO? Now, we know in WCW, I believe you were approached by some of the members of the NWO, and then in WWE, you were in the NWO. So talk about that.
Yeah, man, it was a big deal. NWO was riding high in WCW when they came in, man, and of course, man, it exploded, man. It made the arenas double in no time. It was a ride that one could never want to forget, man. It was just a party every week, man. Every time coming on the road, NWO made it something special to be a part of as far as the like I say, the arenas go. But of course, the NWO had to get their feel, man. They came out, they beat somebody up every week. They left somebody in the ring laying every week. For some reason, I wasn't one of those guys. I never got left laying in the middle of the ring by the NWO or anything like that. So that was cool. What these guys brought to the table as far as the money side as well. I knew they were getting their piece of the pie, but they made the pie go up for a lot of guys like myself who was working at the top of the card. Man, they made my check actually go up a whole lot. So that part right there, I really understood from a business aspect. So that was cool. But to actually be a part of the group, the NWO, it was something that I just did not want to be a part of. I didn't want to be, in the mix with a bunch of different guys, coming out to, that one music. Sure, being a part of a group like that, you got to change, your just the way you work, the way you act and whatnot. And that's just not something I want to do. As well as those guys, man, they ran real hard. And that might have been something that could have, pulled me in as well. And that's not something that I was about either. I was always a loner. I always was about, making money. I was always about, coming to work and getting my work done to the best of my ability every time, I came to work. So it might have been a huge distraction, with all those guys. And then the NWO became, it morphed. It became, so big, it blew up into, two separate factions. And for me to be a part of that, I could see myself getting lost in the shuffle real quick. So when I was approached, they say, hey, bro, we need some color. We need some color in the NWO. And I was like, hey, man, I appreciate it. But nah, man, I'm good, man. I'm a solo act. And I'm kind of glad I did stay a solo act. And then in the WWE, I was a part of the NWO for 1 week only. So it wasn't something like I was really a part of. So it just wasn't, something that I wanted to be a part of. I'm glad I didn't be a part of it. And if I would have, I wonder if we would be having this conversation right now. I wonder if I would have ever became heavyweight champion if I would have, joined that group. I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think you had just been another guy. You had been just another guy. And there's so many of those guys who, and the NWO obviously did incredible business, and they were one of the most revolutionary factions of all time. I just want to make that clear. But some of the guys who were on the precipice, or not the precipice, but on the outside, right? On the outer rim of the NWO. Because here's the thing. When you have Hogan, Hall, Nash, Big Show, right? I mean, Giant when he was in WCW was massive, not just literally. I mean, he was big. Pac was there. Rick Rude was in the NWO. You had Ted DiBiase at one point, right? I mean, it was just so many stars all at one time. And it would have been hard for anybody to break through, especially a guy who hasn't had that main event run yet. Because at the time, you weren't in the main events, right? You might have just gotten out of Harlem Heat, or you're still in Harlem Heat and then getting out of it into the television championship picture, not in the main event. Had you been a part of the NWO, I don't think that we would be having this conversation. This show wouldn't be called the Hall of Fame. That's for damn sure.
Nah, man, I knew I was a worker.
Seriously.
I knew I was a worker. I knew I was one of the guys that was bringing ratings to the show. I knew I had my own little cult following as well. So all I had to do was, just keep doing what I was doing. There again, when, Eddie and, those guys left, Dean Malenko, Benoit, and those guys left, went to WWE, a door opened for me in WCW, to, just go out and do my thing. And those guys were there and money was being made. And I was one of those guys to where I think I cared about, I really cared about the wrestling. I loved that part of it, but the business side of it and trying to say, man, I don't want to see how much money I can make doing this thing. I think that's what I was thinking about more than anything. I was thinking about how do you work your way to the main event and working that under that umbrella right there with those guys. How do you run with those guys? But I wanted to work with those guys, but there again, I didn't want to run with those guys. I didn't want to, be, in the bar drinking and, that kind of stuff. I just want to be able to go out there and do the work. And there again, I got a chance to do that, not being a part of that faction, and which was really cool. But like I say, they brought so much to the table, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the money would have gotten as big as it did in WCW if those guys would have came over there for me, perhaps. I don't know. I don't think so, because when those guys came in, the checkbook just seemed like it opened up, brother. And I was I was like, man, it was like, you didn't even, they was like, man, how much do you want? You know what I mean? I'm like, well, give me this much. And they were like, okay. You know, like, okay, great. You can work next week.
You were happy to go to those Saturday night tapings. You're like, sign me up, man. How much?
I'm like, man, give
I'll
me
be
the
there.
money, man. Give me the money and show me the money, brother. But no, it was a great time for me, man. Great time.
Another super chat coming in here, 499 euros. But it's from Al Theck, who said, my 94-year-old grandmother Sylvia recalls getting a fist bump from Booker T back in London in the early 2000s. Sadly, she has COVID right now. Well wishes for her, please. Well, obviously, Sylvia, we wish you a speedy recovery.
Heck yeah, man. God bless her, man. Big fist bump back in the day. Heck yeah, man. That's what was cool with me, man. We were just talking about that as far as touching people around the world, making people feel a certain way. Doesn't cost you anything to do that kind of stuff. And for me, throughout my career, I honestly knew what I was doing the whole time. It wasn't something that I took for granted and thought that it was going to always be that way, that I was going to always be out there doing that kind of stuff. Because I tell you, I miss that kind of stuff there more than anything. Being able to go around the world and touch the fans and be a part of their lives, go to them opposed to them coming to me. Those overseas trips, man. Oh man, Cologne, Germany. Man, I had one of the greatest times in Cologne, Germany, man. So it's one of the most awesome times in the world. I remember drinking a glass of beer. It was so big. The glass was like 4 times the size of a regular glass, and I drank the whole thing, man. And I was so drunk that night, man. We just had. No, I'm serious, man. And the thing was, the fans would be right there in the bar with us. You know, it would be a party all night long, man. I missed that, I think, more than anything. The wrestling part, of course, was fun, but the camaraderies, the roads and the journey you travel, it was such an awesome deal, man. And I would not trade that in for the world. So, hey, man, let's say that was London. I appreciate that, man. I did a lot of time over in London, man. Love coming to London. One of my favorite places to go.
Didn't you speaking of England in the UK, didn't they fly you all the way to Buckingham Palace one time just for
Palace, man. Yeah.
Just for a real quick promo?
Yeah, just for a quick promo, King Booker shoot. And literally I had so many people following me around, you know, because they saw King Booker, you know, and they wanted to be a part of just being there and to see me. I was like a real king in England. People treated me like I was a real king for that moment. It was such an awesome deal, man. So I had a great time in England, man. London got some of the best nightclubs in the world too, man. Just got to make sure you dressed appropriately, brother. But just make sure you dressed appropriately. Make sure you suited and booted. Otherwise, you ain't getting in. So definitely, that's just a word to the wise.
Just a word to the wise. There you go. Got to put you on game. Although I've never been abroad, but I've heard that the food in London isn't the best in the world.
You know, London food, I don't know where they get it from. I don't know where they No, I'm serious. I don't know where they get their beef, you know, from. I don't know where they get their chicken from. It is, you know, their coffee is I don't know. I don't get it. But every time I've gone to London, man, that's the one thing that, man, it always sucks. Maybe they got the high dollar restaurants over there that you can get out and go to, but there again, we were always the building, you know, hotel. Back in the day, I'm sitting there talking about the club scene over there. You know, I used to run around a little bit, you know. So, but there again, man, over there, you had to be dressed nice in England to get into the clubs over there. A lot of the wrestlers had a lot of problems getting into the clubs over there. But me, I wasn't one of them, man. I fit right in, you know. And the brothers, one thing about the brothers over in England too, dog. You know what I mean? I was like Seal. You know what I mean? I just rolled right up in this mug. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back.
Like Seal.
Shoop. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all.
Like Seal, Booker T, like Seal. That's how you had it over there.
Bro,
You had it like Seal.
well, I'm telling you, man, I had it like Seal over there, man. You know, dark skin brother, roll in, you know, all the honeys just go nuts.
Well, you know, Seal was with who, right? Heidi Klum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Shout out to Seal. You know
I'm
what?
telling you, man. That's why you think I pull up a brother like Seal. You know what I mean? Seal had he's just rugged, handsome brother. You know what I mean?
Right.
You
Because
look
he has kind of a scars on his face, doesn't he?
yeah, those I think tribal scars or something like that.
Are they really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I never knew what the story was, but I do know he's got some sort of scars on his face,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it never deterred him from getting after it, getting out there and getting it.
Nice suit on, and then and he can sing too. You know,
Brother
Seal,
can't sing.
Seal always had the nice suits on. Even back in the day, he had the skinny suits before we even had the skinny suits.
He was on game early.
He was always on game, man. The brother always brought it hard. So I learned a lot, you know, watching a guy like that. So yeah, most definitely.
Now we still got to talk about what went down on AEW Dynamite the other night. Aaron C has another super chat, but I wanted to bring this up because I heard rave reviews of your Pro Wrestling 101 course on Thursday night. I heard rave reviews about it. People loved hearing what you were saying. You were going into great detail, giving all the small things that you need to know. Not everything, but just enough to set you aside from everyone else. I saw a match on YouTube last night with you, and it was with you and a Hall of Famer. It was with you and this Hall of Famer. It was back in WCW, and he's maybe the greatest pro wrestler of all time, or he's up there in the top 5 of all time. And I just want, I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but I want to show you just the very beginning of this match and tell me what you remember working with this man right here. And this isn't copyrighted, so we can show it. What is 101 every Thursday, right? So tell the people what they can expect from that.
Every Thursday, go to realitywrestling.com, you know, and sign up. Every Thursday, we, you know, go back and look at some footage of, you know, some old matches, you know, figure out, you know, what they did right, what they did wrong. Just like myself last night, we were watching myself in The Rock, and I was showing a lot of stuff that I did wrong, a lot of the mistakes that I made coming in, working with The Rock, being passive, whatnot, waiting too much, little bitty things. It's what, you know, determine whether you make it to the next level or not. You know, I always tell my students, it's what you do before and what you do after is what make the actual move. I always tell my students, action is movement. So you're going to learn the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts of what wrestling, pro wrestling, professional wrestling, television wrestling truly really is. So tune in every Thursday, 7 Central, and be a part of Booker T's Wrestling 101. I think it's something that's really, really cool. And I'm getting a chance to touch so many people around the world. This last class, we had, I think, 15 to 20 people on. So come on in, guys. Be a part of it.
Well, let's get to one more super chat here before we have to get out of here. This is Algernon the Absurd with a $19.99 $20 super chat. Big shout out to you, Algernon. We appreciate your donation to the channel and to the cause. He said, Booker, what's your favorite memory during your time in the main event mafia?
You know what, man? Some of the promos, you know, some of the stuff that, you know, me and Kurt was doing. When me and Kurt started getting into it, I thought it was going to be leading to him and I actually having a match and working. It never came to fruition, of course, but I remember, you know, being in that little, you know, room that we would cut our promos in, and man, me and Nash and Steiner, you know, we would be laughing so hard. You know, I remember one time, you know, Billy Gunn, he came in, and it was part of Man Event Mafia. He came in and he was talking, him and I got in his face, and then Billy Gunn, he's a pretty big guy. He bucked up on me, and then I go, Stein, where you at? Then Scott Steiner walked in, and then I go, yeah, what you gonna do now? it was just so fun, so much fun, man. You know, working with AJ, I mean, young guys, you know, back then as well, you know, Samoa Joe and all those guys, you know, forming an alliance against us. You know, Man Event Mafia, man, was such a fun time working with some of the best guys in the business. And Man Event Mafia, that group was, you know, comprised of guys, we all had one heavyweight championship goal at one time in our careers, and that's what was so unique about the Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, awesome times. Aaron C with another one real quick. Book before we go to break. Booker, always wanted to ask you, are promos fixed? I'm assuming he means scripted. Were your promos ever scripted during your career?
No, I mean scripted. In WWE, of course, you get guidelines, and that's what a lot of guys get these days is a lot of guidelines to the point to where it's hard for them to be themselves. But no, back in the day, they pretty much gave us a chance to be ourselves. That's why even now when I'm thinking about a promo, I'm thinking about the same way that I learned how to cut promos coming up, which is whoever you're talking about, you got to know how to put them over, before you break them down. The more you put them over, the less you have to break them down. So you just have to pick out little bitty pieces if you really put them over. So for me, it was all about always talking about what town they're in, what arena we're gonna be in. So it's always the promo is something. There again, it's like a match. There's a structure to it. It's a blueprint that you gotta follow. But back in the day, it was all raw, promos where guys just were out there having a lot of fun. So why do you think I said the craziest thing I ever could have said in a promo? Because no one gave me a script. I should have had a script that night.
Well, Aaron C. also said the Booker versus Rock promos were the best. Thank you, Booker, for those. So
no, I appreciate that too, man, because The Rock was definitely one of the best guys I ever been in the ring with, as far as working goes, as far as everything. I mean, promos especially, the guy was the best, man. And I swear, man, you didn't want to be on the receiving end of The Rock promos. You just did, man. I swear, I was so on edge when I had to do stuff with him, man, because I knew he was going to eat me alive.
2 + 2, Thomas Jefferson, sucker.
So like, I don't want to get into a battle, a joust with this guy as far as promos go. Sorry, man. I'm serious.
Oh man, some of the most classic. I just remember. I think it was you and was it Stephanie in there, and then Jericho and Rock were on the stage.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Yeah, that was some of the best stuff that That's why I say that's why we're going to come back. We're going to talk about the AEW Moxley Omega thing, just because wrestling is not far from where it was back then, and I really feel like we really need to try to work our way back that way to make wrestling something special to the fans again. Guys, stick around. We're back in a minute. Ship. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, y'all. Hey, man, we got to talk about it. We left off just last night as far as the main event went down. AEW Winter is coming show, and I tell you, Moxley versus Omega for the AEW Championship. It actually, man, it was an old school match. It was a throwback to what wrestling was, I think, back in WCW. It definitely had that WCW feel in it. Seemed like the whole way, even with not a whole lot of fans. And I was like, wow, it seems like the war with WCW and WWE all over again. That's what it made me feel like. And I go, wow, this is pretty good. In the addition of Sting, and you was talking to me about the intro Sting made and the Winter's Coming thing. I went back and watched it. It actually was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It actually was. It was like, wow. And there again too. that's not something that's new.
No.
That's not something that's new. That's the way wrestling used to be, like all the time. It always was something like that. And you can are they ran those promos for 4 6 8 weeks, and then next thing boom. You know what that I'm gonna tell you exactly what it reminded me of, and it seemed like the same person produced it, the same person that produced Glacier.
It did have a Glacier vibe, and for a minute I thought it was going to be Glacier. I really did, because I know I did, because remember Glacier came out, I think it was at All In with Cody. They came out together, right? He was part of like the little MMA kind of team thing that he had with Arn and DDP and all those guys. Glacier was one of those guys. And when I saw like winter is coming and then all the snowy mountains and then the snow started to fall from the ceiling, I said, wait a minute, are they about to big up Glacier like that? Like, I know, like, back in the day, he was one of the cool acts, but, Mortal Kombat came out in 98. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's what it felt like, though, right?
It did feel like Glacier. Yeah.
I swear,
I all loved the Glacier.
No, it seemed like the same person that produced Glacier was the same person that kind of produced that. It seemed like it had the exact same feel to it. And I was like, man, this will work out a little bit better. But now the addition.
Hey, Glacier was over with the kids. Glacier was over with the kids, man. I can speak from experience.
All right, cool.
But continue.
No, but that main event, man, like I say, the finish of it, it wasn't anything special or anything like that, but it was old school to the point to where the fans go, oh, come on, no. And the big I don't know what he called that finisher right there, but bang, there's no way he's gonna kick out of that. If he would have kicked out of that, it definitely would have made me go, wow, okay, now we're totally in a place we don't want to be. But it made me feel a certain way, and I must say that it was a match that had an old school feel to it, and an old school look to it, and we're in 2020, and it went out there and worked. That's why I say we're not that far from where we once was back in the day. That's what I talk about on my Wrestling 101 class all the time. And I had one of the students on there, and one of the students that actually goes to Reality of Wrestling, Roxy. I know you guys have heard about Roxy before. She's all over the internet, getting her props. But she was saying that she watched it, and she said every other match that she watched on there, it wasn't like that match. And that match is what we teach at Reality of Wrestling. I was so proud of her, for her to spot that and to be able to take that out there and know what it means to tell a story, slow it down, bring the fans into the ring, let them be a part of it. All those little bitty things. Those guys went out there and did, and I give them, big ups for keeping wrestling, old school.
Yeah. I'll tell you a few things I liked about the finish. One, it was unexpected. I did not see Don Callis getting involved. It didn't even cross my mind, because they did a really good job of introducing him a few weeks back on TV, on AEW television, and just saying, oh, he's a close friend of Kenny's. He wants to be here for the match. I didn't think anything about it at all. And then if you watch the psychology of the match and how they were laying it out, it almost led you to believe that Moxley was the one who was going to turn, right? He was being a little overly aggressive. He went and grabbed the chair at one point. The week prior, he blindsides Kenny Omega when Kenny's making his entrance through the tunnel. So they had kind of set up like, hey, maybe Mox is going to take a little turn to the worst, turn to the dark side here. So that made it even more unexpected for me. And the match itself was really sort of almost irrelevant after the finish. And I think that you and I spoke about that, and you're like, that's what a good wrestling match is, where you just remember that amazing finish, right? When they pull it off and
you remember the match, of course. You go, man,
you remember the match, yes.
You know if the match was good or not.
Yes.
But the finish, you go, oh man, I can't wait to watch next week. And that's what wrestling always made me feel more than anything, was to motivate me. That's why I love watching Houston wrestling back in the day, because every Saturday night they would go off the air and said, we gotta go off the air. And two guys would still be fighting. And you pulling your hair out, going, "Come on, dog, just give me 5 more minutes of this." And then your mom telling you, "Go to bed after that." You know what I mean?
But the way that it finished, Kenny Omega is the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and Don Callis ends up getting involved. Foreign object, boom to the face, finish 1, 2, 3, and they steal the belt. They run through the whole backstage, and this was the spot that I loved, and I think that maybe it made us both think about the old school kind of 90s WCW Nitro of it all, right? It had that wild and crazy finish to the show where Kenny's running through the back with Don Callis. Everyone's looking at him. You even saw Tony Khan with his headset looking like this. All the boys like, "What did you do? What did you do?" Kenny's not looking at anybody, blinders.
You know what the best part about that was? It's wrestling. Wrestling is just so wrestling, and I love it. That they're running to the car, and the guy comes out from out of nowhere with a microphone. "Hey, can I get a word with you?"
And you know what the funny thing is? Didn't even know if there was a camera following Kenny or not, right?
Paparazzi or something. It was nuts. That's the part I like more than anything. That is wrestling 101 at its finest, man. I'm serious.
Yeah, and then he asked him. I just want to say, and then he asked Don Callis. The interviewer asked Don Callis, "So, wait, what's going on? What's the point of this?" And Don Callis said, "You're going to hear about it on Tuesday." And the guy was like, "Wait a minute, Wednesday night is Dynamite. Dynamite's on Wednesday." He's like, "I know. Impact on Access TV. Get in the car." And this car takes off like a rocket, right? Takes off like a rocket, speeds off, show goes off the air. Great finish.
I said it, a little while back, right? I said it's just a resurgence of Impact Wrestling. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
There again, man. I don't know why, man. I said it. I said, Impact got a chance to become Impact players all over again. They got a chance to get back in the game. It's a lot of free agents out there right now that's looking to get on the roster, man. It's looking to get a job. And the thing is, one thing about even working in Impact Wrestling right now, if these guys can make a deal to where they can, parlay, working, Japan, and a few other companies, man, that's a nice little payday for you.
Hell yeah.
You can make some real money, as well as keeping your presence alive more than anything, as far as just being on television. Even if you're on reality of wrestling, somebody's watching you. If you're on Access TV, somebody's watching you.
Mm-hmm.
So now being a part of AEW, somebody's going to tune in on Tuesday night and watch Impact. I think last week they had the highest rated Impact show on Access since they've been on there. I think nice. I was just reading that, and this right here should give it even more of a bump. But there again, if the more wrestling out there, man, the more wrestling content, the better for the boys. A lot of guys going to be able to, feed their families more than anything. And I think I really feel like it's enough room to go around, and that to crank the heat up even higher is something that's just inevitable. It's just something that's got to be done. The war is on. The war is on.
The war is on, Booker T, and I'm excited to see where it goes on Tuesday. Like I said, Impact has my eyeballs on Tuesday evening, and then I want to see what Sting says on Wednesday Night Dynamite. I'm interested, and I'm interested in TLC coming up because they just made official Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the Universal Championship. There's a lot of good stuff happening right now that I'm interested in the world of sports and entertainment.
I'm gonna tell you right there, I was thinking about that match right there. Kevin Owens, he's one of my guys, man. Kevin Owens is one of my guys, and I wouldn't underestimate Kevin, walking in and walking out champion. He's one of those guys. He's a blue collar guy. He's a guy that knows the inside of that square circle like the back of his hand. Is there a better wrestler in the WWE than Kevin Owens? I don't think so. He's really that good. Are there guys that work on his level? Of course, but are there anybody better? I don't think so. He's been around the game and studied it for quite some time. So definitely looking forward to being at TLC. I'll be there. But guess who I better not run into?
Who?
Ariel Helwani. That's what I'm gonna start calling him, Ariel Helwani, because his daddy thought he was a girl. Hey guys, we gotta get up out of here, Bradley. I appreciate you for being a part of this thing. All of you guys in the chat, man. Again, man, we appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week, but it will be Monday and Wednesday, hopefully. We'll see. We got to see what the lineup look like. We appreciate you guys for being inside the Hall of Fame. We got to get up out of here, guys.